Hey, what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. I wanted to take you down a quick rabbit trail here. If you've been watching some of the stuff on CERN, you've probably run into a channel called BPEarthWatch. If you want to go there and check out a lot of the stuff that he's been tracking with CERN, he's done a really good job of just analyzing the data that's coming straight out from the Large Hadron Collider and everything else going on. So there'll be a link down here. Check him out if you haven't. He published a video today called "Did CERN See Another Dimension Today?" And it's a really fascinating video. It's just, it's under 5 minutes long. He talks about some different anomalies based on the streamed data coming out of CERN. And one of the things he pointed out was that during one of the dumps, which is, sort of the images that it's coming out of the collider, he noticed something different from what he's used to seeing. And that is this image here. Now, most images of the dump, he says, is normally, just a spot and it's just black. But this one seems to have little dots everywhere. And he speculates that perhaps this is a little tiny rip, a little tiny wormhole into another part of the universe, or different parts of the galaxy or something like that. It is interesting, it's intriguing to consider. Now, I don't know exactly if that's what this is. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if something like that is going on. But again, I don't know if that's really the case. But it did make me go down a particular rabbit trail here. That's not too bad of a rabbit trail. So I just wanted to throw this out there and see what you guys thought about it. Now, first off, interesting news that I know some of you guys are probably aware of, but if not, it was announced last week that HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, has new life. It's back. Now, HAARP shut down, allegedly, a couple years ago, and a lot of people in the conspiracy world thought, hey, maybe they just went underground, they went to a different technology. Quite possible. But one of the things that's interesting about HAARP, a lot of people think that it's a weather control, which I actually think that, yes, the weather can be definitely affected by HAARP. If you do enough of the research, you'll find that to be the case. But in a Canary Cry Radio episode, we had an episode a while ago, this is about 2 years ago now, where we talked about sound. And we just went through some of the interesting aspects of sound and even the conspiracy weapons and everything else surrounding sound. And one of the things we talked about was HAARP, and at the time HAARP was still online. And one of the things we pointed out was that on their official website from Alaska, HAARP claimed that their purpose was not to manipulate weather. Rather, this is what they said, quote, "HAARP is a scientific endeavor aimed at studying the properties and behavior of the ionosphere, with particular emphasis on being able to understand and use it to enhance communications and surveillance systems for both civilian and defense purposes." Which is kind of funny if you think about it. They're saying, no, it has nothing to do with weather, but it's meant to be a thing that we use to spy on you. So just kind of funny. That's their official program purpose. But this website isn't there anymore. You have to go into the archives and the Wayback Machine to find it, which you can do. But it's interesting that, Obama was just in Alaska last week. Maybe he was there to, check out the new relaunch of HAARP. Now, according to this article, Bob McCoy, head of the UAF's Geophysical Institute, who now has the keys to the complex, stated this in the article, quote, "Even though it's esoteric and hard to understand, it's the best." Speaking about why HAARP didn't go away quietly. Now, this is the official guy that's, pretty much got the keys to HAARP, saying how esoteric it is. Now, I know esoteric just means intended for or likely to be understood only by a small number of people with a specialized knowledge or interest. It doesn't necessarily mean anything nefarious, but why would you even use that word to talk about HAARP? And so the attitude of the man who has the keys to HAARP now is very interesting. Further down the article here, it says, Bill Bristow, a space physicist and the Geophysical Institute's point man on HAARP, suggested, quote, "With heat, we can create a disturbance and watch how quickly it dissipates." And we know that recently around the world, there's been a heat wave. I know where I'm at, it's been really, really hot and humid, more so than normal around this time. Could this have something to do with HAARP launching up again? Now, alongside HAARP and CERN potentially opening up some sort of wormhole, let's go off the cliff here. There was a show called The Event a while ago. This was a show that aired on NBC. They only had 22 episodes, and I believe it was either canceled or it ended. And it was it's one of those conspiracy-driven shows. And one of the interesting things about this show, just the basic premise, and I don't remember everything about it. I did watch the entire series on Hulu when I had Hulu. But in any case, it's an interesting story because basically the premise is a spaceship lands or crashes in Alaska, and the aliens that were on the spacecraft look a lot like humans, but their DNA is slightly different, and a lot of them are detained. Some of them escape and, are able to blend into society. Now, one of the characteristics of the aliens is that they age much slower than humans on Earth here. And so, there's all kinds of special interest, family-related drama that can be drawn from that. And there is. But in terms of the major sort of events that happen in this show, one of them is the disappearance of an airplane. An airplane is headed straight towards the president, and the plane just disappears. And, somebody works this technology that creates a wormhole or a portal that caused the airplane to disappear at the last minute. And the basic idea is that these alien beings were looking for another planet to help out because their civilization or their planet was dying. And their protocol was that they can't just take over a planet. But because of the drama that's associated with everything, they decide, we're just going to go ahead and take over your planet anyway. And, they tie it into all kinds of conspiracies. One of the characters was supposedly responsible for the 1986 Chernobyl disaster because they were trying to steal the uranium from the nuclear power plant in order to create this technology to open a portal to their home planet. And, you keep watching as all this drama unfolds like a normal television show. And in the second to last episode, the beginning of the end, at the end of the episode, a massive portal opens. And then in the last episode, episode 22, Arrival, people look up into the sky. The president's son looks up into the sky, and behold, their planet has gone through the wormhole and appeared in Earth's atmosphere. Now, that's science fiction. I would imagine that if a planet went through a wormhole and appeared in our atmosphere, in our gravitational pull or whatever, there would be some major disturbances that would cause some pretty crazy stuff. And it got me thinking about a biblical passage. Now, look, I'm not suggesting that, we're going to see a planet go through a wormhole and that's, going to be the beginning of some sort of end times event, or that, what BPEarthWatch saw here is necessarily a portal into another part of the galaxy or the universe. Interesting things to ponder, though. But a Day of the Lord passage that's in Isaiah is really interesting. And this is Isaiah 13. And if you don't know my views on the Day of the Lord, check out my pre-wrath rapture video that I did, a little presentation I gave. You can scroll back a couple weeks and you'll see that video. Now, this is a chapter about the judgment of Babylon. And there's some interesting overlap here. I think there's obviously a near and perhaps a far fulfillment of this. Starting in verse 4, it says this: "The sound of a tumult is on the mountains as of a great multitude, the sound of an uproar of kingdoms, of nations gathering together. The Lord of hosts is mustering a host for battle. They come from a distant land, from the end of the heavens. The Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Wail, for the day of the Lord is near. As destruction from the Almighty it will come. Therefore all hands will be feeble, and every human heart will melt. They will be dismayed. Pangs and agony will seize them. They will be in anguish like a woman in labor. They will look aghast at one another. Their faces will be aflame." Really interesting stuff here. "Behold, the day of the Lord comes, cruel with wrath and fierce anger, to make the land a desolation and to destroy its sinners from it. For the stars of the heavens and their constellations will not give its light. The sun will be dark at its rising, and the moon will not shed its light. I will punish the world for its evil and the wicked for its iniquity. I will put an end to the pomp of the arrogant and lay low the pompous pride of the ruthless. I will make people more rare than fine gold, and mankind than the gold of Ophir. Therefore I will make the heavens tremble, and the earth will be shaken out of its place at the wrath of the Lord of hosts, in the day of his fierce anger." So again, this is talking about God's wrath, the day of the Lord, which I believe is outlined with the 7 trumpets and 7 bowl judgments. And it seems that God is going to use some very interesting characters to carry out this judgment. And so let me propose just an idea. Okay, this is still an idea stage. This is not Gons believes this. This is not Gons' doctrine. But what if mankind is poking at the creation, the fabric of space-time, and they're continuing to do so over and over and over again, and they successfully rip open some sort of time-space, wormhole, whatever, but this prompts not demons necessarily manifesting, but actually God's army that is here to pretty much bestow the wrath of God upon the earth. This would make sense in a very interesting way because according to the pre-wrath rapture, the rapture event and the day of the Lord are sort of back-to-back events where after the sixth seal is opened, sometime afterwards, the rapture of the church occurs, the resurrection of the dead in Christ rise, actually backwards in order there. But in any case, that happens. The 144,000 are marked. And then as the seventh seal is opened, you see the seven trumpets and the judgments upon the earth begins. And that's when, all the strange stuff starts happening. So I know this is kind of a different angle or a different possibility, but, I'm just throwing it out there because, it's important to cover different outlooks of this. And so maybe Jesus is the one that's sitting there waiting, going, okay, you guys want to break down the veil? Thank you for ushering in the wrath of God upon the earth. And that would make somewhat of a different kind of sense to what's going on here, because we read about when the day of the Lord begins. In other parts of the Bible, it talks about, hide on us the rocks, because of the things coming upon the earth. And this would also represent sort of a different way to look at another fulfillment, if you will, a similar thing as the Tower of Babel. At the Tower of Babel, as they were beginning to sort of, pierce the veil or get to heaven, so to speak, God came down and said, nope, that's not going to happen. And so perhaps this is sort of an outline of what we're going to see again, but this time the coming of Christ will be the rapture of the church and the day of the Lord's wrath beginning. And, those are just possibilities here. I don't know. It just kind of makes sense to me. It's resonating with me at this moment. But then again, always cross-examine, rethink. I'm always thinking about these issues and pondering different possibilities. This is just something that came upon me as I sort of was looking at this topic, and even tying it to the event, okay? The event, the aliens are kind of seen as like the bad guys, trying to take over the earth. And so maybe that too is a portrayal, a negative portrayal of Jesus Christ and his kingdom. And in fact, I believe there's a character, a female character, that is half alien, half human hybrid. And, she's sort of one of the main characters of the story. So maybe they were trying to depict, a Jesus-ish character, but sort of in a mocking way, right? I mean, oh, it's just aliens. It's not really the Son of God. It's not really God manifesting here on Earth. No, it's just aliens. And so that's a different possibility. And so, it's just very interesting. This is just another card you can put in your index of ideas and possible outcomes as we sort of wade through all the stuff happening. So let me know what you think. Am I crazy? Have I completely lost it? Some of you guys would say absolutely yes, Gons has lost his mind, but that's okay, can't please everybody. But for those of you who want to engage in the conversation, please do so in the comments section and be nice. I'll jump in there every once in a while, check out what you guys are saying. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, share the video, again, comment. Hope you guys have an awesome day. God bless.